Welcome to the Realtor Diaries podcast, episode 6, Creepy Crawlies. Topic today, Creepy Crawlies. I'm Kim Jacoby with the Jacoby team in Century 21, and with me,
Elijah McGowan, also of the Jacoby team. We are your go-to Northern California realtors. And I'm going to start us off today with a story that involves both of us, but I'm gonna tell it.
Yeah.
I was very new to the Jacoby team, and it was during like our training period when I was going with them on showings and some appointments. And so you invited me to go to a showing that was, I think, I just happened to be kind of close to the area.
Yeah.
Like, I was right there. And so you guys show up to the house, I'm already there. And we go in, everything's fine.
Yeah, it's like the buyers and me and you.
I met the buyers. She had met them at an open house that I had also been at that open house.
Yeah.
I forget how involved we were at the very beginning of me joining the Jacoby team.
I think you're just kind of like coming to stuff and observing.
Yes, a lot of shadowing.
Coming to our open houses,
Yep. And so I had not met the buyers before, but I'd seen them before. And so we all say hi and we enter the house, and it's very obvious that maybe someone hasn't been inside for a minute.
And it was completely vacant.
Yes, it was completely vacant.
No furniture.
No furniture. I don't think there were any appliances.
I don't think so.
I don't think there was a stove or dishwasher either. Yeah, no furniture, no appliances. And so it didn't really look gutted, but it was missing some things. But the first thing we notice as walking into the house is like every corner in the living room had a spider web with a daddy long legs in it.
Multiple.
Like, there were multiple spiders in most of them, and there were a lot of spiders. And so we are exploring the house, we're showing every room, and there's just more spiders and more spiders. And mostly I feel like I was able to put it out of my mind.
Oh my gosh, yeah.
But you would look like, I would see you look at a corner, and I'm like, why did you look like that? And I'm like, oh. There's a giant spider in the corner.
And then cobwebs, like, you go down the hallway and you walk through a cobweb.
Yeah, invisible webs you're just walking through. And there was one, like, converted garage, maybe?
Yeah, it was a really funky layout.
It was like a concrete floor, and it was like a shop/art room kind of thing. That probably would have worked for those clients.
I know, yeah.
But, I mean, that room was like cold, dark, and like every corner you could just feel that there was like, there was something in the corner everywhere. But yeah, no, that house was overrun with spiders.
It was insane. That was the most daddy long legs I'd ever seen in one house.
In the backyard, I feel like there was like a big tree on the left.
Mm-hmm.
And you know how in like movie sets or even on Halloween, they take the fake cobweb over the tree? It wasn't that bad, but like past the leaves, like not really in the sun, you could see webs in the tree.
Gosh, that's right, I blocked that out.
Just outside. And it was a pretty small tree, but it was a home to many.
I don't know what it was.
And so, did they decide there that they weren't going to go with it? That it wasn't really, or was that,
Yeah, it was kind of like.
I don't think they minded the spiders very much, though.
I know.
They didn't seem too bothered by it.
Yeah.
But they decided not to do it, and you're kind of helping me with the lockbox, because it's one of the newer lockboxes that are more
like
secure.
Instead of opening like this, it like has this thing that drops down.
It has a compartment that like slides back in.
Yeah.
And there's a wooden shed like right next to the hose bit where it's attached.
With spider webs and spiders all
I know, and you're standing on the path, I'm just like, I'll take the key over there. And I didn't think about it. And I reached behind like a wooden thing to where the thing is. And you're like, Elijah, wait, there's spiders everywhere.
Like widows.
And I'm like, that could be bad right now. And so I look behind it, and there is like webbing, but I don't see any spiders.
Yikes.
And so I put the key away, and luckily there was. And then we walk to the street, and we both do a turn, like, to check for spiders.
Look, do I have spiders on me? No. Oh, man. Goosebumps.
Oh, my gosh.
Goosebumps just thinking.
Luckily, that was okay, though, with the final piece there. Like, me putting away the lockbox and it being behind, like, a piece of wood.
I know, you could have gotten bit.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But no, we were safe. Everything was fine.
No one died.
But no, there was a spider in every nook and cranny.
And to this day, we call that the spider house.
Yes.
Yeah.
That is the spider house.
Well, and there wasn't just daddy long legs.
Oh yeah, no, there were like wolf spiders and daddy long legs.
No, see,
and
any spider that is named after a wolf, like I know wolf spiders are great. They eat bugs.
They're so useful.
We should like wolf spiders, but they're called wolf spiders, and they look creepy.
And they jump so far.
Oh my gosh! Don't even talk about that.
Okay, can I talk about something?
Should I plug my ears? I have hardcore arachnophobia.
Oh, okay. You don't want to hear this.
Okay.
Okay.
Go.
So when I was in high school, like about to graduate, it was during COVID. It was during COVID when I was about to graduate, and so I spent a lot of time in my room on my computer doing classes and stuff. And I lay down to go to bed one night. It's fine, And my room had a spider problem.
Oh gosh.
Because
did you live like in the forest?
Kinda.
Okay.
Yeah, we lived like in the woods.
Yeah.
Well, not in the woods, but we were out there.
Yeah.
And my room, so like take above us, like near the ceiling, there were 2 layers of shelves, and this were up to like mementos and like, things that I wanted people to see when they came into my room. And for the second or third time in my life, we lived in that house for 10 years at the time. A spider was on the ceiling. I couldn't see it. It was nighttime, and I'm laying there about to go to bed. I feel right on my face.
No.
And I'm like, and it's the third time it's happened, and so I take the blanket and I fling it.
Oh my gosh!
And then like I turn on. There's a clicker right above my head, and so I turn the light on, and the spider landed on my blanket, like by my feet, and it starts running. It starts running at me, and so I like whip the blanket, and it goes flying. I'm like, I don't know where it is.
I would have left. Did you sleep in your room still?
Yes, I had to. What was I gonna do?
Sleep on the couch in there.
I should have slept on the couch. But no, that was like the third time I had done a lot of spider murder in that room.
I've never had
just thinking about it, I'm like, yeah, that was bad.
Yeah.
But no, I think a total of 4, maybe 5 times a spider landed on my face in the middle of the night.
No, I would have to seriously probably have counseling or something.
I don't even think I told my mom that. She should probably know that.
Mom, if you're watching,
there were spiders in my room. It was bad. Yeah, I'll have to send her this episode.
Yeah.
But no, yeah, our house also had a bat problem, but I think you know a house with a much worse.
My story today is about bats. So first of all, I didn't know that bats were like a big deal. So like if you had bats, that's a problem. Mm-hmm. Until several years before this happened, I had gone to a client's house in the evening. She was like an older single gal, and she had invited me over for a glass of wine.
Okay, yeah.
And so I went over there, and we were just, talking and trading stories. And she had told me about a previous home that she had owned 10 years before that, and that it had bats in the attic. Okay. And that it took, I don't remember how long, but it was like this ongoing thing where the company she was working with, she couldn't get rid of the bats.
It just wasn't working.
It wasn't working, and it was this whole nightmare. And she spent tons of money, and so that was really my first encounter with knowing about bat infestations, and so it just kind of implanted in my mind bats are bad. In terms of if you have them in your attic. Yes. Right? Bats, we love bats because they eat mosquitoes and they protect
some of them
the environment. Yeah. I mean, they're really important. But if you have them in your house, that could be really bad.
I mean, they excrete acid.
Yeah.
Their
guano is toxic.
Yes. Yeah. And it leaches into things.
Yeah. If it gets in the wood in your attic, you have to completely remove that wood. People who live with bat infestations, for 10, 20 years, they
without really knowing.
Lung problems.
Yeah. And the house she's talking about specifically, I had an open house there. It was I think it was my very first open house.
Oh, right, yeah.
And some very nice older ladies came by, and one taught me a lot about roof problems.
Yeah.
And like, 'cause she had a house with a like really bad roof problem, and was
Yeah.
like, this is just something she knows now.
Yeah.
And she was like, walk with me outside. And she's like, you see those droppings? I'm like, yeah. She's like, I think those are bats. And I was like, they do look like bat droppings. But I forgot about that.
Yeah.
I forgot that she was talking to me about that.
Because she was there for like 2 hours.
Yes, she was there.
Talking to you about a lot of things.
She was there for my whole open house.
Yeah.
But yeah,
Yeah, so this house, now that, coming back to the story that I'm going to share today, it was my listing, and it had a tile roof, and it had a huge redwood tree right next to it.
Yep.
And anyway, so the current owner, my client, his college daughter lived in this.
Yeah.
That it was for her, and he had no idea that I had bats in it.
Yeah.
You know, I had no idea. I didn't see anything. I didn't know what bat droppings looked like because I had never had bats. But so anyways, I get a buyer, and I'm representing the buyer also.
Yeah.
And we get into escrow, and it's like a couple weeks in, we're doing the whole house inspection walkthrough, and we go into the garage, and there's a dead bat on the ground in the garage.
Oh.
And the garage, everything was completely empty. There was nothing. And there's
it was staged, right?
dead bat. Yeah. But like there was nothing else in the garage.
Oh, okay. The garage was empty.
And the big door was shut. And so I'm like, where did this bat come from? Because nobody lived at the house. So it's not like the garage door had been going up and down, and it had been shut for weeks. And then I look up at the ceiling, it had a vaulted ceiling in the garage, and there's a hole about this big in the sheetrock leading into under.
Yeah.
And I was like
the attic kind of space.
Yeah.
You're
And
like,
I look up at the hole and down at the bat, and I'm like, oh my gosh, somehow that bat came from the attic, and it couldn't get out, and it died in the garage.
And then
because it couldn't get out.
Yeah, I just had no way to do so.
But because of that story that past client had told me, bats are bad, right? So I'm like, I know there's not just one bat.
You're like, there's bats in here.
There's like hundreds.
Bats.
Where there's one, there's hundreds. And so I immediately that day called Western Bat Solutions, which is a local place that does bat inspections. And I paid for that inspection because I knew what a big deal it was.
Oh, yeah.
And I was like, I need you guys out here tomorrow because we had to release our investigation contingency soon.
Yeah.
So they came out, and sure enough, they found that a colony of bats was living under the tile roof and in the attic.
And it's interesting with bats because they don't have to eat where they stay. They leave.
Yeah.
They leave every night, right?
Yeah. They go out at just after dusk, and they go and eat the mosquitoes.
And then they come back.
And then they come back, and they roost. They hang upside down. And,
and ruin your attic.
But yeah, the end of the story is really sad for my seller. So the buyer, after we learn about the bats and we learn about how much it's going to be to not only get rid of the bats, but also repair all the wood and damage that had been done.
Did they say no?
The buyer canceled escrow. Yeah.
Which is fair, totally reasonable.
And so the seller, he called up his insurance, his homeowner's insurance, because you would think something's just destroying my home, so I have home insurance for that. Well, there's a clause in most homeowners insurance that says any damage caused by rodents will not be covered by homeowners insurance.
What?
Because that is considered like bad on you, the homeowner. You should be keeping the rodents out of your home.
Really?
Yeah. Now the interesting thing is bats are not rodents.
Yeah, they're not rodents.
They're actually mammals. And so the Western Bat Solutions basically fought with his insurance company.
Oh,
and
Western Bat went to
they went to bat for the seller. Yeah.
Oh, yeah, I remember you telling me about this because they did give you a number at some point.
They did, and it's a big number.
Yep.
But the insurance company did end up covering a portion.
Yes, that's what I heard. They
Yeah.
covered a portion.
But yeah, it's still going. I mean, this is a year and a half later, and this is still, my client is still dealing. He pulled his house off the market. It's not for sale anymore. And he's got a new roof, all new wood and everything, all new, but yeah.
Wow.
It's still going.
Yeah, that's crazy. I mean, pests can just be terrible.
Yeah.
Like, I mean, spiders you can deal with. They don't really destroy things.
They're creepy, but you can, you know, usually a pest control company
they can
come and take care of it.
Take care of it.
Yeah.
But, man.
Termites, bats.
Bats equals bats.
Bats are bad.
That's what we learned today.
But we like bats. We don't want to kill them, but
yes, we don't want them inside the house.
Yeah,
no pet bats.
Now, if you have a comp roof, which is, you know, those shingle, like just the flat with the granules on it, bats can't get under those.
Okay, but it was the tile roof.
It was a tile roof.
There you go.
Yeah, so if you have a tile roof, you might want to get it inspected for bats.
Yes, periodic inspections are definitely recommended.
Yeah. Well, we have a special guest today, and we're going to hear a really creepy story from her.
They're all creepy.
Yeah.
But yeah. I don't remember what I'm saying anymore. Okay, go ahead. We'd like to welcome our special guest today with a cumulative 14 years in real estate with a stint as a nightclub owner. She rides motorcycles and she's the hostess with the mostest. It's Barbi Boeger.
Woo! Thank you for having me, you two. This is fun.
Yep, and our topic today is, of course, creepy crawlies.
Oh, yeah.
They've heard about bats and spiders. I hear you've got some crazy stuff, too.
I was invited by a family member to help sell an in-law's house in Durham. And it turned out that there was at least 3 years of complete lack of maintenance. Mm-hmm. So we went in there and we knocked down 5-foot weeds and we rebuilt walls and stuff. In the middle of the process, we somehow realized that the house had bed bugs. I know how they got there. It was from the tenant that the owner had to kick out. Okay. So we know how the bed bugs arrived. At least that's our best guess. But what we had to do to get rid of them was another story. So
I mean, leading up to this, it was, I mean, you guys had no clue. Of course it needed a ton of work.
We had no clue. We were up for the yard work. We were up for painting a few things. You know, I thought maybe $1,200-$1,500 worth of work.
It didn't need a new coat of paint?
We ended up new flooring, new carpet.
Oh my gosh!
So
you remodeled your client's house,
and it's not my relative; it's my relative's relative. So
there you go.
It was just one of those things, and but we helped him out, and then right in the middle of that, the campfire happened.
Oh.
So the house didn't sell.
Wow.
The house didn't sell. So we kept working on it, and then the campfire happened, and then one of the things we got to offer on that house, because it was sitting there empty, was the people could move in right away during escrow if they could prove they had the funds to buy the house. Yeah. And that ended up being, you know, my toad house that I lovingly refer to it as. It was green. It ended up being somebody's lifesaver, and 3 families moved into it.
Yeah, because after the campfire, there was literally people like, we need somewhere to sleep tonight, you know? Yep. We need a home.
Yeah.
And so you had done like a lot of the work, and this was before it was going on the market?
Yeah.
And so you're working with them, working on it.
Yeah, and then it just things kept looking worse, and just when you when you get inspections, you just become more aware of things. Yes. And there are things that we knew that we weren't going to close escrow on, and as a real estate agent, your experience has taught you that's not going to fly.
That's going to be a deal breaker.
And that's going to be a deal breaker. So we just kept ending up doing a lot of work on that house, and we ended up at the tail end, I think they paid me back $12,000 in escrow.
That's a lot. So this whole time you were paying for it?
Yeah, thank God.
It was family.
It was family. That's not normal.
Yeah.
I'm slightly an idiot on it, but it just
all worked out.
kept growing. Oh, and I got it all back, you guys. I mean, I knew the people that I was doing it for, I knew we tapped all his money.
Yeah.
It was,
he had already.
Yeah.
He had already paid as much as he could.
He paid as much as he could, and then I realized he was tapped, and then I just needed to get that house sold for my family member because they were caretaking him. He was in his later 70s, I want to say, and they just wanted to get him sold out of here, and then he moved to the mountains, the Sierra Nevada mountains, to be with his twin boys, and we got it sold. I can't say thank God for the campfire, but because of the need at the campfire. And then he happily moved up with his kids, and he's since passed away. But it feels good in my heart that we got him up there for the last year of his life, and he enjoyed it with his boys.
That's really cool.
Huge.
So that's how great investment.
Well, I want to go back to. I've got a bunch of questions about these bed bugs. First of all, you said it became known to you that there were bed bugs. Give us a little more insight into that. How did you figure out there were bed bugs? Because they're tiny, they're microscopic.
Yeah.
It's not like you see a bunch of things crawling around.
So the owner made me. It told me that there was bed bugs. He thought there were bed bugs, and then he showed me something, and it was proof positive that there were bed bugs.
Did you not believe him?
I did not believe him at first. I go, sure, you've got bed bugs, and then he showed me irrefutable proof, and then we called in and asked what it would take to get rid of them.
Yeah, tell us more about what you had to do to get rid of
So
bed
we
bugs.
called it a pest. I think we actually called. Can I name drop?
Of course.
Dave Brown Pest Control.
Dave Brown.
I don't know if I'm allowed to or not. Anyway, we called him in and we asked him, what is it going to take to get rid of the bed bugs? And the house was so permeated with them from the previous tenant. I forgot to give you guys that punchline. The previous tenant had allowed street people to move in, and that's how they got bed bugs coming in off their backpacks and stuff. So, but the house was so loaded with them that they said I had to rip up all the flooring. They were going to hyperheat the house, spray the house a bunch of times, and then hyperheat it, and they brought in all these extra heaters and stuff. I guess bed bugs die at like 130 degrees or something like that. I mean, don't quote me on that.
It sounds kind of scary to hyperheat your house.
It's like chocolate chip cookies. At some point, they're going to be done. So, sorry about that. But anyway, so we hyperheated the house, and then we had to strip all of the flooring out of. It was over. I feel like it was like 1,600 square feet. We had to replace all the flooring.
Are you talking about, obviously the flooring covers, but were the subfloors okay?
Wood,
plywood.
So
underneath?
We stripped everything out of the house, the linoleum, the carpet. The stairwell carpet was a terrible, bitch, because it was wrapped carpet and somebody had put 1,000 staples underneath.
Oh,
Of course, I had to pay for that extra labor to pull.
Man.
So anyway, but long story short, we pulled up all of it, and then they sprayed the heck out of the flooring and the walls, and then they hyperheated it, and then we painted the floors. On top.
Really? Kills
of
something like that?
Yeah, it was the subfloor, which is like OSB, I think, and we painted that, and then you sprayed on top of the paint, under and on top, which and so can you hear multiple trips with Dave Brown?
Oh yeah.
Anyway, and then they also sprinkled. I think borax in there at the bottom of the wall, so if they were to come down, their little feet would get borax on them, and they couldn't.
Because they could have been inside the walls.
Yes.
Yeah.
They could have missed the heat wave.
Yeah.
Didn't get the tan that they wanted. So very long, very involved. God bless Dave Brown.
Yeah.
I mean, I don't mind throwing that out. And then we sold the house without flooring because we thought that the next person would want to pick flooring.
Yeah.
Oh, well, there you go.
So, because we had another experience with another house, same people, same family, and they went in and put in beautiful VLP floors and laminate floors and carpet, and literally the new owner ripped them out. Within 24 hours of owning it.
Oh my goodness.
The carpet glue wasn't dry yet.
Oh my gosh.
So when we looked at those,
it wasn't to their
it wasn't their
taste.
he was moving in, and he got to pick what he when you own a place. That's the neat thing about when you walk into, say you're looking at houses and you look at floors and you like them. Oh my God!
When you own it,
floors and paint are not that expensive.
Right.
So anyway, we didn't replace the floors because we thought they would want to pick them out.
Okay, did you guys like adjust price based on that? Or?
It was always a good price,
Okay.
it was only $235,000 in Durham.
Yeah,
For a
wow.
1,600 square foot house.
3 streets, 3 or 4 streets back in Durham, so it was in a nice area, and so it was priced right. But once the campfire went through, we had the first couple nights of the campfire, we actually put our real estate agent and his mother, his 84-year mother. I had staging furniture in there, and I turned around they were in our we have a little kitchenette place to eat here, and they were camped out in there, and
we had a number of real estate agents in our office who had lost their home.
They had nowhere to sleep that night, and they couldn't get a hotel, and they called clear over to Santa Rosa. I mean, it was crazy around here.
Wow.
So we walked in there. I called my owner and asked him if it was okay, and he was so sweet, as he always was through the whole thing. And he said, "Sure, put them up." And then we put them up for about 4 days, and then we got an offer, and we had to say, "You really do have to come up with a new place," and moved out.
Yeah.
So neat stories, sad stories about the campfire again. I hate that comes up, but it ended up selling our house, and then 3 families moved into it. Yes. So that's a really
Which
neat.
is awesome.
Yeah.
They even moved a family in the garage because everybody was.
That was how desperate it was at that time. Yeah.
But you got to see people come together.
Yeah, and my seller was super happy. He got to move in with his kids, and then I got all my money back.
Yeah.
It was family members, and I knew I would. So I don't think that I knew what I was doing. So
yeah.
Well, it's a creepy crawly story with a really nice ending.
Yeah,
and
and the family that bought it still owns it.
That's awesome.
So
that's really
that's 5. Aren't we at 5 years?
Yes.
With the campfire
6 years.
18 November of 2018.
Okay.
Yeah.
So 1920, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Oh.
Are we at 6? Okay.
This November it'll be 7 years. Wow. That's insane.
Yeah, and the family's still there. So the house that wasn't so nice is their home now.
That's right.
Yeah.
It's still green.
End
of Toad Story.
Well, thank you so much, Barbi, for coming and sharing your story with us.
Thanks for sharing.
You probably know way more about bed bugs now than you did before.
Or that you wanted to.
Yes. That was not a good experience. But that's what real estate's about, is not being creeped out about whatever you're looking at. And there is somebody out there to eradicate whatever.
That's right.
Cats, snakes, bats.
And spiders.
Yeah, always someone who can help.
Yeah, so.
Yeah, awesome. Well, thank you, Barbi. And now it's time for the news.
Today's segment is about pest control and pest problems, just like our stories, all the creepy crawlies that can end up in and around your house. And I think you've got a couple topics or specific critters.
Yeah, so I thought that on our news segment today, I would kind of talk about some interesting things about bats, mice, and wood-destroying bugs.
Yes.
Specifically termites.
Yep.
So the bat thing, people don't see them a lot, right? Like you don't really notice them, but they're all over California. They tend to come out at dusk.
My childhood home was covered in droppings, and
Yeah.
it was bats.
Yeah. Bats, believe it or not, are protected by state and federal laws.
Are they like an endangered species?
They are considered to be so integral to our environment and crops and things like that.
That makes sense.
But technically, you cannot kill bats. It's illegal.
Wow. All right.
And so to get rid of bats, you have to do what's called excluding them. So bats can fit into 1/8 of an inch. Like they can flatten out their bodies. Different types of bats.
Oh, but they can like go under like door spaces. Well, usually not specifically that.
Yeah, commonly they're found in attics, and if you have a tile roof, they can slide up under the tiles very easily. So to get rid of bats, basically you have to go around and close up all the openings all around your roof and into your home, especially the attic area.
Oh, like, so you have to seal off where they're getting in and where they can get out? This is when you're starting to get rid of them?
Yep. But you have to leave one opening open. Because then when they leave, when that colony leaves that night to go feed, then you
seal it when they leave.
You seal it when they leave, and then they can't get back in. So that's how they do it. That's how they get rid of bats.
Wow.
I know.
Sounds difficult.
Yeah. There are companies that are professionals at that, and they've got all kinds of different...
Which is the one you said you worked with?
Materials. Yeah, Western Bat Solution.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, they know what they're doing. So
good.
You can either try to do it yourself or hire some specialists.
Yes.
Now for mice specifically, they tend to come into the house in the fall and winter.
Is it similar for rats, or you're not really sure?
Yeah, I mean, basically rodents, right?
Okay.
So rodents, they are coming inside because it's getting cold, or it's raining, or they're looking for food.
Then they like to stay.
And then they stay, you know. Specifically with a mice infestation, you're going to see like 10 or fewer mice. It's not going to be like hundreds.
Okay. No swarms.
No. 10 or fewer
Luckily.
is like the typical infestation.
That's a nightmare.
Now, the interesting thing I found, and I think most people know this, is that a female mouse can give birth to a litter 5 to 10 times a year.
Almost once a month.
I know. And every time they give birth, they can have up to 14 babies.
Wait, but it says only 10 or fewer usually, the infestation.
Yeah, so...
so they just move out really quick?
I guess they tend to leave.
Yeah, that makes sense.
Unless you're giving them a really cushy spot, you know, like...
Oh, I bet it's like, depends on how much food there is.
Yeah, exactly.
Like if there's enough food to feed them, they'll all stay.
Yeah, some tips to make sure that these mice and rodents are not living with you.
Yes.
Is you're going to seal up all entry points. And again, you know, mice can be really small. So you want to make sure all the vents around the bottom of your house, if you're a raised foundation, all those vents are nice and tight.
Sealed properly.
Yep. That all the exterior walls are nice and sealed. They can't crawl up under your siding. And then, of course, you want to eliminate food sources. So keep your food in your kitchen. And then one of the other big things is to keep foliage and trees away from your house. Because they can, you know, they come in from the bushes or jump from a tree. So if it's possible, keep things away so they can't just jump over to your house from
it's also
the bushes.
Usually a good idea to keep a clearance around your house of foliage.
Yep. It doesn't make for a good curb appeal though, but
yeah, true. It can look a little weird to have like a designated 1 foot square around your house. Yeah. And then next is termites.
Termites, yeah.
Yeah, I mean, this is it's been a problem in the U.S. and I imagine most other places forever.
Oh yeah.
And that's why all of our documentation, it's not always just pests, it's specifically wood destroying organisms or termites.
Yeah, so there's different types of termites, and so I'm kind of just talking about the subterranean termites, which are common in Northern California. If you're along coastal regions, like near the coast where it's moist all the time, then you're gonna maybe see some different types of termites as well. But these kind of termites, the subterraneans, they live in the dirt, underground.
I think I got a pest report back that specifically noted they found signs of subterranean termites.
So let's say that your house has wood siding, okay? And you've got all around your house, you have flower beds. And so if that wood siding comes down into the dirt, the termites can crawl up and under the siding. You wouldn't even know it.
Oh, I see. So that's why you'll see the concrete foundation around the edge because you're not supposed to have the siding all the way down.
In fact, what is actually really good to do is whether or not you're on a raised foundation or a slab, you should dig down maybe like a foot all the way around your house and like 6 inches wide and fill that with rock so that the soil is away from your house.
Have you seen people do that?
Yeah.
Specifically? Oh.
You'll start to notice it when you start showing homes. There's certain homes that you just know that homeowner was meticulous.
They did it right.
If you look around the perimeter of that home, especially in the flower beds, and you see that rock, that's what that's for.
I have seen that.
Yeah.
Okay. Like, so that's what that's for.
Yeah.
Because sometimes I thought it was like a mulch kind of situation, which didn't make much sense, but I didn't
to
know.
Help keep termites away.
Wow.
Did you know that termites cause the most structural damage in the United States over any other insect?
No.
Structural damage. And the reason is because they eat wood. They don't just chew it and like spit it out.
They don't just make it weaker.
They chew it up and eat it. So then there's literally voids in the wood.
Gotcha.
So one way that you can tell if you have termites, because sometimes it's hard to know that they're in there because they're inside your wall, you can't see them, is like if you're outside and let's say you do have a bit of that concrete perimeter foundation showing, you'll see this little tube going up from the soil up to the wood. It's called a term. I don't actually remember what the certified pest inspectors called it, but it's a termite tube, and it's usually looks like sand and let's see.
Oh, like how an ant colony will like build up.
It's like a little tunnel that the termites literally built so they're not just walking exposed on up to the wood. It's like this tunnel that they build.
Okay, so taking a look on the outside every once in a while.
Yeah, and so sometimes when you get that pest inspection in escrow, on the pest inspection it'll say subterranean termite tubes noted. It could be active or it could have been old.
Yeah.
So
it could have been treated already.
Maybe there's no more termites, but the tubes are still there.
Interesting. And I assume usually they have pictures showing? Okay. Yeah. I should look back at some old reports.
Yeah.
That's crazy to think about.
Yeah. So, I mean, if you have termites, you need to take it really seriously because you're going to need to kill the termites, and there's like 3 levels of stages. The adults, the juveniles, and the larvae, and they all take different poison and different ways of killing them, and then you're gonna have to replace all the wood that they ate. So it's a big deal.
I just need like a moment of silence to cut in there.
Yeah.
I was dying. Every time I'm so interested in the topic, and I'm like, oh no,
you're like,
call
him, look at right. You can always kick me underneath.
I know, but usually you're good at looking at my screen. So.
Okay, I feel like it took me forever.
Oh no!
It didn't.
It took like 2 seconds.
Okay.
Because I started scribbling and I saw you like start to notice like under. Okay, moment of silence. Okay.
Wait, I'm still recovering from that. That was a really loud cough.
I know I knew it was gonna be crazy loud.
Yeah. All right.
Okay, just a second of silence. And so for those termites that come in through the tubes, the termite tubes, I'm going to talk about the difference between pest control and to do an inspection, you have to be certified, right?
Yeah, like if you're buying a house and you get a pest inspection, you have to be a certified pest inspector.
They are certified in the state you live in, but a pest control company does not have to be certified.
Right.
A pest control company, they, through whatever method or specialization or experience they have, for mice, they'll come do traps. For bats, maybe they have to be specially certified.
Well, there's pest control companies locally that can come and get rid of bats, but if you want to make sure you're doing it humanely, that's not the right word.
Even legally
and humanely, you're not supposed to kill the bats. They're supposed to be excluded.
Yeah, but most pest control companies, well, I won't say most, but pest control companies can either be certified or not certified. But they still take care of the problem. Like if you're getting a treatment every other month, maybe sometimes that's a little too much, but every other month.
That's what we do. That's what most people I think that I know that own a home or a business, they get their pest control company out every other month.
Yep.
To spray and get the cobwebs.
And I lived in a couple rentals where they actually started to hire a pest control company after I started living there.
Yeah.
And they would come by every other month.
Yeah.
But they come knock down cobwebs, spray they might spray for termites, but especially for ants.
Yeah, it's like this general poison that
Yeah.
kills like ants, earwigs, spiders,
Yep, exactly.
that kind of thing, beetles,
But in contrast, a certified pest company is certified by whatever state they're in, and they can do pest inspections. They can mark things as Section 1, Section 2,
That's right.
like whether it's an immediate problem or a potential problem, and that's kind of where those certifications sit. And so the right choice, I mean, before using a pest control company, which will likely be the cheaper option, you probably want a certified pest inspector to come out and look and see what problems you may or may not have.
Yeah, and that is because, they're trained specifically on bugs that are going to eat and destroy wood.
Yes,
Yeah.
that is the specific designation that a certification gives.
Right.
And then, I mean, once you know what's there and what the problems are, you can hire a pest control company to treat an immediate problem.
Right.
Or I've had clients who, I mean, they knew a pest control guy, so they he did car detailing, so they traded services.
Oh, nice.
And so he came and dealt with the termites, and then he got
That's
a
awesome.
couple car detailings. But yeah.
Yeah. I know, and not all pest inspectors do pest control, and vice versa. Not all pest control companies do pest inspections for escrows.
Yes.
So it's one of those common things that people get mixed up. They're like, I want a termite inspection. Can I just call the guy who comes and sprays every other month? It's
You
like,
cannot.
you gotta ask him if he's certified.
Yes, I guess that is the first step, is to ask.
Yeah, for sure.
But yeah, we learned a lot today about the do's and don'ts of pests.
Yeah, creepy crawlies, man. You and I both, we do not like spiders.
Learned, but I was definitely a little oblivious to the spider house. But yeah, thanks for coming, and we'll see you next time.
Right.